bevy of beautiful products, beautiful journeys, and much promise in all of those startups. And we're just over halfway through. But what I'd like to do now is introduce someone who has been a serial tech entrepreneur for a long time. She is a former Metro Businesswoman of the Year, a recipient of the Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit recently this year, and she's the founder of Call Plus, she's the founder of Slingshot, and she has been a supporter of Lightning Lab XX from the get-go. If you can have a huge round of applause for Annette Presley.
Good evening, Wellington! And my thing drops off. There you go. Hi to all of you. Hi to all the investors, the entrepreneurs, and the guests. Entrepreneur. Hang on for a second. What does that word mean? To me, it means being bold, being brave, and being amazing. To me, it means feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Taking a risk, putting everything on the line, not listening to experts who tell you that you will fail, faking it until you make it, backing yourself when others don't. It means overcoming obstacles. It means failing constantly, but learning from your failures, and taking those failures and changing your products, changing your services, changing your direction every single day. It means thinking constantly, every night, every day, every moment about your dream. I'm just a little girl who grew up in South Auckland with some really, really big dreams. I shouldn't be standing here. I failed my computer science course at Auckland University, and I watched lots of my friends fail in life and opt out, and yet here I stand. I started as an entrepreneur when I was about, I reckon, 8 years old, and at night, to escape, I'd run away to the Papatoi golf course and I'd collect golf balls, ones that were lost, and I'd sell them. I'd walk around the neighbourhood, and at night I'd convince somebody to buy a golf ball. Well, when I didn't earn enough money doing that, I started making fake flower arrangements to supplement my income. And I actually convinced quite a lot of people to buy the golf balls and a lot of people to buy my flower arrangements. I discovered something, though. I discovered something that followed me through my life. I found my passion, and that was people. I loved talking to people. I loved listening to people. I loved being with people. Being an entrepreneur, to me, is the most difficult thing in the world. It's one of the biggest challenges you can take on board, which is why 75% of entrepreneurs fail. But it's also the most rewarding role you can have in life. I believe the most important thing, though, the key to being successful, is finding your passion. You have to uncover and find your passion. If you find your passion and you follow your passion, people, success, fun, maybe money, if that's your motivation, they will follow you also. So I followed my passion, and that was people. Of course, not everybody follows your vision, and not everybody supports your vision. But guess what? That's your time to shine. That's your time to ignore them. If everyone was meant to be a successful entrepreneur, we would all think the same way. You have to think differently to everyone else to be a successful entrepreneur. If we did all think the same, everybody, all of us, would be successful entrepreneurs. Failure is a big part of the journey for an entrepreneur. Ask anybody, including me. I failed more times than I can count. I have built and sold 3 successful telecommunications and internet companies across Australasia. I'm so proud of that. More proud of the amazing teams that we had that supported that dream and took us down directions and paths that we never imagined we would go. Part of that dream was a multi-brand strategy. We built over 8 brands that are now known in Australia and New Zealand and growing today. In fact, the company I just sold is part of a $5 billion company now. But way back in the day in 1992, our first company, we started in the garage with no money, no expertise, no supplier. Our business partner backed out. I broke my leg. And all the experts told us, there's only one thing for certain, you're going to fail. But we felt the fear, we did it anyway. Telecommunications resellers, they did not exist. We went to America, there were 1,500. We knew they existed. We were told we were fraudsters. Well, over the next 6 years, we grew a company called Call Australia to $100 million with over 100 staff. I trained over 75,000 salespeople throughout Australia. We had branches all across Australia and the most incredible family of people that I've ever met in my life, who I'm still in contact with today. We signed a non-compete and we came back to New Zealand and we started again. Again in an environment where nobody believed that we were real. How could there be anybody that could sell telephone services except telecom? There's only telecom. Well, again, we proved them wrong. In over 18 years, we grew Call Plus, Slingshot, Flip, 2Talk, and bought Orcon. Yeah, and we built that company and we sold it last year. It was a $250 million company and we sold it for $250 million to M2, which is now Vocus. Woo! Yeah, I'm super proud of that. It was a really, really tough journey. But you know what? Anybody that says that you're lucky, which lots of people tell me I am, that's an interesting word to use. Lucky, I know we're lucky because we were born in New Zealand. The rest, I know we create. Anyway, over the next 18 years, we did grow it. But interestingly enough, my greatest success was my greatest failure. Many years ago, in the year 2000, I started up a company called I for Free, which you're probably all too young to know that company. But it was the first free internet provider, got shut down, and hey, here we are. That company was over 50% of the sale value last year, and yet it was a complete failure. Shut down, didn't exist. It was the birth child of Slingshot. A long time ago, Einstein said, I failed my way to success. That's exactly what I did. And that's what I'm going to challenge all these entrepreneurs tonight to do. An entrepreneur takes risks, stands up, breaks the rules. An entrepreneur does not listen to others because an entrepreneur understands and knows that its dream and vision is real. I'm proud of what we've achieved, and I'm really proud of the people. When we started Call Australia, our competitors started up a nickname for us. It was Charlie's Angels. Why? Because 80% of our staff were female. Why? Because I was in charge of hiring, and I would always hire a receptionist. The receptionist, within 3 weeks, I would either fire or I'd promote. They weren't always the most qualified. They didn't have the top degrees. But we hired people, and I still do, that think outside of the circle, that like to break rules, and that are more intelligent than me, and they're better at what they do than me. As a woman starting out in business when I was very young, I was 19 when I started up a company to support women. And we trained women how to succeed in business. We trained them in grooming, we motivated them, we trained them in attitude and how to run a startup. The New Zealand Herald called me a feminist. There were no female role models and there were no successful women in business because I'm not very young. I didn't care. I ignored this. Well, I read it. I didn't really like it when I read it. But it happened, and you know what? That's the thing with life. It's 90% how you react and 10% what happens to you. I was one of the first women in New Zealand to sell computers, and the rest, there were a few of us I made friends with, and one is here with me tonight. While I believe that whether you're a woman or whether you're a man in business, it's completely irrelevant, I do know for a fact that the more people around you that support you and help you and believe in you, and I think the word now is your mentor, the more likely you are to succeed. Being an entrepreneur is one of the hardest challenges you can choose, and not one undertaken lightly. People ask me a lot about work-life balance while you're an entrepreneur. Well, that's just bullshit. That doesn't exist. I have never had a moment as he called me, a serial entrepreneur, where I've had that thing that you've created called work-life balance. You focus, you focus, you focus, you focus, you focus. Excuses is not a word. It doesn't exist in your dictionary when you're an entrepreneur. Sleep is a thing that you dream of. And criticism is something that you live to learn with. You learn to live with. Entrepreneurialism is not for the weak. But just like motherhood, it requires a person that can juggle everything. And I think motherhood is the closest thing to being an entrepreneur. It means you have to put on many hats. It means you have to stay awake at night. It means you have to stay focused on the main goal. You have to listen to what your customer's saying and readjust every day. Every day. You have to adjust to your environment every moment. You have to work every waking moment and have a dream, a vision of what the future might hold. You have to have a love and a passion for your dream and know that that dream's going to come true. Be prepared to just make so many sacrifices and overcome obstacles while knowing that that dream is possible. That's why I'm standing here tonight supporting Lightning Lab Women's Startup Program. We had nothing like this when I was a little girl. There were no successful women. The few successful women there were became my friends. But certainly they didn't exist. You don't know how lucky you are. I had drive, I had persistence, and I had resilience from a little girl. And now I know that you need all of these in order to even start on the path of entrepreneurship. But I also had a few angels that came along in my life, different shapes, different guises, and Lightning Lab has provided some of these angels to these incredible entrepreneurs that I've had the opportunity to meet with. They all have persistence, they all have drive, they all have opportunity, and they've all had some angels. They need some more help. They definitely need investment. Are they going to succeed? I can't tell you that. Am I going to invest in some of them? Definitely. It's a journey, it's a roller coaster, and there's no guarantee of the end game. But all I do know is that these guys are bloody amazing. I think that they deserve our consideration and our support, and I'm certainly going to be investing in them. I know that their journey and their future is going to be daunting, super daunting, and it takes a super brave person to walk down the path of entrepreneurship. All of you who are sitting here now, I guess you haven't been a serial entrepreneur, or if you have, you're sitting here trying to learn how to do it better or how to spend your money. If you're trying to work out how to spend your money, there's no better way than to invest in New Zealand and young people who want to make a difference and make a change. My hope is that these guys we're going to be reading about in a few years, and that they'll be standing here telling us how they changed the world. Thank you.